What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the tavern. I'm Spencer,
And I'm Eli.
and this is Bardic Blunders. And today we have like two things because we couldn't figure out what to talk about.
Also, happy Thanksgiving!
Yeah, Thanksgiving podcast. Woo! Also, episode
Ooh,
60. Um,
we've been doing this for 60 weeks now,
yes, we have.
where we
Uh,
just get on the air and bullshit.
yeah. But first, we wanted to talk about a little thing that's been happening here this week, where Sony has been trying to acquire From Software by buying their parent company. Uh, what was?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's no bueno. Uh, what was it? Where's the thing? Okay, Kodakawa. That's right. So Sony is attempting to purchase Kodakawa, who is the majority shareholder of From Software, which is bad. That is very bad. I don't know, Bug. I don't know how long we're gonna be doing the podcast. Why is that the first thing you ask when you come into chat?
Do
Um,
you need a hug?
but uh, Kodakawa has some other things under their belt. I can't remember what it was. I think they're a big anime company.
Yes, they are.
Which would mean that Sony acquires a bunch of that too, which is not good. What's
Yeah,
up,
because they'll make
Alex?
everything PC.
Um, well, no, they make everything PC. It's
It has to be friendly like Spider-Man.
it. What they would do is, I have no doubt they would stick their grubby little fingers into everything that From Software tries to do, and it would make what is an incredible company bogged down by corporate suits, like happens so often with other games. And I have a feeling chunks of From Software would be closed down or sent to work on other projects, and you know they'd halt whatever they're working on right now. Like, oh, what, Elden Ring 2? No, nobody wants that. Come over here and work on this gotcha game. You know,
Yeah.
stupid things like that. Uh, but yeah, it's just it's so I hate it because Sony already has its mitts on my favorite From Software property, Bloodborne. And for anyone who's not aware
Yeah.
about that, Hidetaka Miyazaki, the I think he's the head of design at From Software. He's the big name when it comes to Dark Souls and From
Yep.
Software. He has said himself, we would love to do something with Bloodborne, but Sony won't let us. Sony doesn't want to do
Hey, they
anything.
would be able to do it as soon as they got acquired by Sony.
Nope. No, Sony wouldn't do that. Sony wouldn't be like, oh, hey, now that you work for us, Bloodborne 2. No, they wouldn't do that. They've sat on what would be a golden goose of either a sequel to Bloodborne or a Bloodborne remastered, and they've refused to do anything about it. They are so apathetic, and it would just ruin anything From Software tried to put out.
Yeah. Could you hit Sony with Monopoly?
Not
A
quite.
Monopoly a Monopoly bust on them?
No. Not when you take a look at the grand scheme of things and you see how many properties Xbox has acquired comparatively, because Xbox
No,
bought
it not in
Bethesda
that.
and
and not in that mindset, like not in the titles, but in the genre of game. Like you could be like, Sony owns all of the Souls-like games. That's a monopoly on Souls-like games, right?
Except they wouldn't, because Lies of P isn't developed by From Software, and Lords of the Fallen and The Surge, and there's a lot of Souls-like games that are not under From Software's umbrella. The only things they would own would be Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, which they already own, Sekiro, and Elden Ring. And I mean, if you go back to FromSoft's older titles like Kingsfield and things like that, they'd own those too, but those aren't as relevant because those are like Mac games from the 90s. Um, but yeah, they couldn't hit them with any sort of. Now, if they went out and just like
Bought all of them.
even then, no, I don't think it's about that. It's, yeah, like Alex said, it's about market share, because you can't
Mm.
really say like, oh well, they bought all the existing games in this one genre. That means they have a monopoly on the genre, because anybody else can come in. Heck, all the people at From Software could leave, make a new company, and then make something that has nothing to do with Dark Souls, or it's their own unique game, and Sony couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, and they actually there's some stuff they can do. That's why I have been a big like so this thing like okay, even if Sony were to buy them, they would have to quit before Sony bought out the company basically because Sony would own any projects that you can have thought of or written down in the time that you've worked for FromSoft.
Right.
Because that's how Disney gets away with owning so much because they're like, oh no, you were working for us as a janitor when you wrote that novel, so Disney now owns that,
Right.
which is bullshit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, that's why you don't. Well, okay, if you have something written down, you write it down again after you've left said company, and then destroy any copies that existed prior to that.
Uh, Unless they take you to court and try and prove it, that becomes a legal battle, and I
There's,
don't like that.
I mean, there's no grounds on which they could prove it. You're like, oh, I wrote this down. Like, don't type it into a Word document or anything, but like, I mean, heck, type the one after you've left into a Word document, and then if there's no evidence that you had anything close to the idea written on paper or in any way, shape, or form until you left, they can't do anything about that.
It, you, they would try because it's
Well, of course they would
their
try, because they're terrible. Like,
yeah.
they're vile. They're gross. I hate Disney.
Quite a bit of the whole like big companies just suck.
Yeah. I've said it multiple times. We don't live in a capitalist economy anymore. We live in a corporatist economy,
Yeah.
because big companies can kind of just do whatever they want, and they
Yep.
will, because they don't care about doing right by people. They care about making money. Um, and that's just the way. Never ever anybody, doesn't matter what company you're looking at, Walmart, whether you're looking at Disney or Amazon, or even if you want to go smaller than that, like I mean, Nintendo's smaller compared to those two companies. You know, whatever company that you are looking at, they don't give a crap about you if you're giving them money.
Yep.
Which is why so many companies. Oh my gosh, I'll get a little controversial here. It's why so many companies will do things like during Pride Month change their logo to a pride flag.
Only in
Because
certain regions.
only in certain regions. Yeah, because those companies don't actually give a crap about any of that. They want people to be like, "Oh, look,
Think they care.
these companies care about me." But it's the same like you see Hollywood movies that have things like Star Wars. One of the recent Star Wars movies that had like two chicks kissing right at the end in like a quick scene. The reason that's a quick scene is so they can cut that out when they send it over to China because they know China won't like that. So
And
they don't care about you. They just want your money. And if they have to try and pander to you to get that, they will. They absolutely will. So don't trust companies. Even if you think a company aligns with your views, they're doing it so they can get your money.
the
Now,
only companies that you can trust are mom and pop corporations.
those aren't corporations.
Actually, they are, because that's the easiest way to set up a company here in the United States.
I mean,
Just because
yes.
it actually protects the people.
Yes, but it's not that's a completely different
Yeah,
thing. Like you're I would tend to not use the word corporation for that because the majority of people would be confused because
yeah.
corporation is used to describe a typically used to describe a large company. Um, but yeah, little bit of a tangent, but yeah, that's pretty much like Sony doesn't care if you like Dark Souls, and frankly, they don't really care that Bloodborne would be a boatload of money for them. It would be an easy cash grab. They they just see Bloodborne sitting there and they're like, yeah, we own that. Oh, okay, you're not going to do anything with it? No, probably not. Oh, can somebody else do something with it? No. Why would we want
No.
somebody else to make money?
Yeah.
We're just going to sit on it so nobody else can do anything with it.
This is why we don't like big companies.
And see, Ian, you say to get money you need to impress your fan base, um, and you bring up microtransactions. There is a shocking amount of people who, even if they themselves denounce microtransactions and decry how they're the fall of gaming and it's such a vile thing to put microtransactions in your game, they'll still happily spend hundreds of dollars on games. How many
Yeah.
people actually, you know what? Let's take a look at this. League of Legends is a free game. You do not have to pay a single cent to get into League of Legends. Uh
Yeah.
so, uh if you had to guess how much a free game made in a single year, what would the guess be? Probably not very much, right? Because people don't like microtransactions, which that's
What year? What year?
uh the only ones that I'm finding are up to 2022. Let's see.
But that makes sense.
Because it's
So,
they haven't released data for 2023 yet. Uh,
it'll get released at the end of fourth quarter for 2024. They're always a year behind. Dude,
right.
that's tax stuff.
Yeah.
That's
So
um
for a game For a game that is free, uh, no, not net increase. I don't care about that. I don't care about players. But a game that is free. The only things that you can buy are cosmetics, or you can buy the champions early if you don't want to play the game to unlock them all. You can pay money to unlock them. Those are the only two things you can buy. $1.8 billion in revenue in 2022.
Yeah. I mean, there's also things with that, like you have to think of all the ads that get paid for their big events that gets put into the ad revenue, well, into the revenue side, but it's still a lot of money.
Yes.
There's minor things that you got to think about, like, oh man, they sell plushies. That makes up a chunk of money.
I mean,
but
yeah, you can consider the non-digital base, but I mean,
I would say about at least 55% of that is made up from the skins and cosmetics.
League of Legends Wild Rift, the mobile version of League of Legends, brought in over 5.58 million from in-app purchases in July 2023. 5.58 million for just the mobile game version of League of Legends from in-app purchases in 1 month last year.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's the loud minority.
Yeah.
Because you don't see anybody coming out and supporting microtransactions and loot boxes and stuff like that. But then you see companies who do it making bank.
Yeah.
It's like a free ticket to being rich if you put microtransactions in your game. Because people buy it. People see, oh, okay, I could either sit here and play a bunch of games of League of Legends to slowly unlock the characters that I want, or I could just go through and buy them all. Or, oh, hey, and I won't lie, I was guilty of this when I played League of Legends. That skin looks cool, I want it, I'm going to buy it.
Yep. That's why I own the Pizza Siver skin.
Yep.
Because I was like, this is funny, because I delivered pizzas at the time.
I think there was one skin. Most of the skins I earned just by playing the game, but there was one skin that I bought, and I don't remember what it was. It was not one of the cheap ones. It cost me like $10. Which, I mean,
yeah, and
all things considered, they have like a $30 skin now, so it's like...
Oh, they have much more than a $30 skin. I think they have like a $999 skin.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say that new Ari skin that gives you a bunch of stuff, the Faker skin.
Yeah.
Yep. I saw that whole... Jeez. You need a membership for WoW to access the majority of its content. Yeah. But there's a difference between a membership for WoW and... like other... let's not get into Activision Blizzard, because I don't like them very much as a company either. We're not even talking about the not safe for YouTube stuff that went on in the company a few years ago. That's how I'll phrase that. But Overwatch 2 was terrible. They promised a single player campaign, and that never came to fruition. There's all sorts of things like that they failed to deliver on. It's just...
There's just so much wrong with the gaming world.
I was going to say, the gaming industry has to be heading to a second, like a sequel to the freaking Atari ET video game crash.
Oh, it's going to. Honestly, the only reason why I don't think Black Ops 6 was the reason was because Black Ops 6 Zombies was so fun to people.
Oh yeah, it 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 is the number one Call of Duty for its launch month. Number one
Yeah,
in total players, number one in hours played, number one in total matches. $90
but
mount.
they
Yes, that's right. Yeah, WoW did just add the $90 mount. I forgot about that. Yep. Yep.
yeah, it's getting rough for video games. But I really think what's going to happen is you're going to lose a lot of these big corporations in video games and you're going to be left with a bunch of indie companies running the show.
It's going to start to approach that because it's just too expensive to make a game now.
Yeah. And it's just getting exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they want to see returns up to a certain value, so they're going to market it, which is going to raise the cost of everything. It becomes this whole thing. But then you look at games that are like cost. Look at Lethal Company. Lethal Company had like no advertising on it. A couple people picked it up, thought it was funny. A streamer picked it up. All of a sudden, every streamer is playing Lethal Company.
Yeah. It blew up big time.
And we discussed this. I don't remember if it was on the podcast, but it was the Lethal Company does not look very appealing.
It was not on the podcast.
It was at D&D.
Yeah.
That's right. Lethal Company does not look very appealing, but it's the moments with your friends that everybody's like, okay, this is more fun than playing a game where I'm going to be stuck doing something dumb for, like, playing the same mission over and over again for 3 hours because I keep missing the spot.
Well, and it's the evidence of a game doesn't need to look good to be fun. I don't want to trash in the game. I think its visuals work. But
yes.
You're not going to be comparing Lethal Company to freaking Hellblade or, some other, like, AAA game that puts in a bunch of effort into making the game look almost like real life.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's impressive that we can
idea...
make games that look like that. But frankly, I've always thought games where it's like, look at Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight has a fantastic art style. I love Hollow Knight's art style. Undertale has a very unique art style. There's a lot of games that don't look like you're looking through a window into some fantastical version of real life that just look good because they took a style and they ran with it.
Yeah. It's also like, it's weird that I saw something the other night about the Uncanny Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost as if we've completely gone past that now. Like, we actually have made video games that look like they're real life. Look at God of War. Like, we can tell it's a video game, but, like, it looks realistic.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's been beaten to death. I think there's certain levels of like, wow, okay, Elden Ring. Elden Ring does not look like a life. So, speaking on Sony's the biggest perpetrator of that. They love to make these games that look like, a visual masterpiece. And, oh, what an amazing story. And then it's like you have 2 seconds of gameplay in the entire freaking game. It's not a game. You're watching a movie that has a couple interactive bits in it. But, anyways, I've lost my train of thought.
It's just
Elden Ring looks visually striking just on a
Yeah.
basis. Like the character models, especially if you compare it to like Demon Souls from over a decade prior, it's like, yeah, they've gotten a lot better, technology has improved. But the reason it's so memorable is for moments where like you walk out of the tomb into Limgrave and you see the giant golden trunk of the Erd tree on the horizon. You're like,
Yeah.
holy crap, that looks phenomenal. Like, that's stunning to walk out and look at. That's every single Dark Souls game has had a moment like that. In Dark Souls 1, which came out in 2011, and frankly, by today's standards, doesn't look that great, it's still stunning to come over the wall and see the golden city of Anor Londo. It's remarkable. It's
It's
breathtaking.
look at Halo CE. When you first land
On
um
Delta Halo.
on Delta Halo and you look around and the skybox and it's just like this is amazing.
Right.
And that game came out
In 2000.
23 24 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
24 years ago.
Yeah, and I mean, heck, look at Gears of War. Gears of War isn't in the same way, but it's got its own unique, gritty, like, there's just something about the Gears of War art style that gives off this, like, bleak, yet gritty atmosphere. And it's
Yeah.
phenomenal for that game.
Also, I will say this right now. The original trailer that they had for that, with what song did they play in the background? It's the one that's like all around me are familiar faces.
Oh, yeah, Mad World.
Yeah, that song in there was beautiful. To define that really helped uh get players onto the like, oh, this is going to be a gritty, not fun game.
Right. Oh, we talked about the new Dragon Age on a different podcast, Ian. That might have been last week or the week before. Yeah, we talked about how bad that game was. But again, just another example. Like, yeah, does the
Looks
game look
beautiful.
decent? Yeah, sure, the game looks pretty decent. The gameplay is ass, so who cares? Look at the freaking game. I think it's Thomas Was Alone. Thomas Was Alone. It is a game where the guy who made it used a bunch of different colored squares and he told an engaging story with good gameplay, with squares. Legitimately, just squares. You don't need visuals to have a good game. You don't need a game
Yeah.
to be pushing the limits of technology and visual, like, what, you don't need any of that. You don't need a game to try and look like real life for it to be a good game.
Yeah.
There's so many you could name: Borderlands, Hollow Knight, Dark Souls, Minecraft, for crap's sake.
Yeah. Minecraft is a lot of fun. Can't wait for the movie to suck.
Oh, the movie's gonna be phenomenal.
Movie's gonna be terrible.
It's I So the second trailer, when it came out, it moved me from, oh, this might contend with a Borderlands movie for being bad, to, oh, this will be a fun bad movie. Like, the movie's gonna be terrible, but it's going to be enjoyable because of how terrible it is. Not like Borderlands, where it's just like you want to suck start a shotgun throughout the entire film. You know,
Yeah.
It,
That I'm glad we went and saw Deadpool afterwards.
yes, because I probably would have had an aneurysm if we just watched Borderlands and went home afterwards. The freaking video of the guy who watches it 5 times in a row. Like I can't say he's a stronger man than me. I think he's a man who's crossed the brink of insanity. Well, see,
Yeah.
Borderlands 1 looks bad compared to the sequels because the sequels introduced so many more bright environments. Borderlands 1 takes place mostly on this wasteland of Pandora that it's a bleak atmosphere. It's very run down. This world is not friendly and inviting.
Yeah.
I watched a video called Borderlands Died Twice, and he was basically explaining how Borderlands comes out. It's its own unique thing, and it does a lot of things well. It does a lot of things poorly too, but all in all, it's a solid game. The story wasn't exactly where it needed to be, and
But
the gameplay wasn't phenomenal, but it was a solid game. Then
it
Borderlands
was a
2,
hit in its time.
exactly. Borderlands 2 comes out, and it pushes a lot of what Borderlands 1 was to the side. Borderlands 1 was a little bit more realistic, even though it was on a different planet and you had the fantastical creatures like skags and spider ants and weird siren powers and all kinds of stuff like that. And obviously it was still set in a different world. Borderlands 2 pushed it a little bit more out of that Mad Max vibe.
Yeah.
You
Ah.
went through a lot of different environments. You went through snowy environments. You went through the very purple Iridian environments and through jungles and you have areas like the Highlands and Iridium Blight with the volcanoes and
And
everything
the lowlands.
and the low. Yeah, I mean, you have the dust, which is just a giant desert. There's all sorts of different environments in Borderlands 2. Um, and at that and and the story got a lot better. The gunplay got a lot better. The gameplay got a lot better. And it kind
Yeah.
of pushed it away from a more grounded story with a little bit of humor to a pretty fantastical story with a lot of humor.
Yeah.
Borderlands died and was reborn into something else, something that was good. There was nothing wrong with the way Borderlands 1 transferred to Borderlands 2, and a lot of people prefer Borderlands 2, myself included.
Yeah.
But you can't deny it's a markedly different game from the first
Oh
one.
yeah.
Then you move to Borderlands 3. And yes, there's still a lot of great variety in the environments in Borderlands 3. And they still try and go for a lot of the humor, and they get a little bit more creative with the characters that they throw around. But you run into issues where it's like you bring back Reese and Vaughn from Tales from the Borderlands, and you horribly butcher both of those characters. They're not who they were in Tales from the Borderlands. They're just there to be like comedy bits.
Yeah.
You include a new character in Ava who just downright sucks because they didn't include her a more endearing character. You have Tannis in a starring role. Tannis was a solid character in the first two games because she has such a small role. When you move that character into a main role, she gets grating.
Yeah.
It is tough to deal with Tannis for the entirety of Borderlands 3. And then you look at the villains. You try and compare the twins to Handsome Jack. And I know we went off on a tangent about this a few streams ago. We don't have to do it all again. But it
Roll the tape.
Borderlands died again. And I will say the video was called Borderlands Died Twice, and it's by a YouTuber named Frogwater. I recommend it. It's worth the watch. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed his analysis of it. Um, but then I mean, heck, you look at what modern Borderlands is, and I'm not overly confident in Borderlands 4 because
I'm interested to see how what classes they do.
yeah, my issue is more so with like the storytelling and stuff
Yeah.
because New Tales from the Borderlands was a an appalling mess. Like it was just a dump. It was terrible.
Yeah.
But and then you have the Borderlands movie, which
Which trash.
was trash, and they're making a sequel. Eli Roth is going to make a sequel to possibly the worst movie I've ever seen. Why? Why?
Because they hate us.
Yeah. And I see the thing that teases is like, oh, they could bring in Brick and Mordecai. I'm like, oh, great, two more characters for them to completely miss on and throw in for more haphazard jokes that are nothing but annoying.
Yep. Yep. Disappointing.
Media as a whole is dying.
Yeah. I don't like it, man.
It sucks.
Well, media as a whole might not be dying if things like the indie movie that we're going to be talking about next.
Oh yeah, that one. I'm gonna be real. I was streaming when you sent me that trailer, and I never watched it.
I did not realize you were streaming. If I
Yep.
had known that, I would have waited.
Yeah, I was in the middle of stream when I'm just like, oh, that's interesting. That's why that's why my answers were so short because I was like, cool. I need to get back to streaming.
You could have just said, I'm streaming, fuck off, and I've been like, hey.
Yeah, I mean,
I had no clue you were streaming this morning.
yeah, yep.
Uh,
Streaming Dark Souls because I won't be able to stream most of the week. So I was just like, I'm gonna stream a long stream. It wasn't as long as I wanted it to be because Dark Souls crashed. Huh.
um,
But yeah, what's the movie about?
so the movie is about um basically it's a found family movie. However, it's about a cat in a post-apocalyptic world where all humans have gone extinct. And it's animated,
Okay.
but something happens and the cat has to go on this long journey with the other animals seen in the movie have been a capybara, a dog, a lemur, and a um there's something else. And a stork, I believe. And they just go on a big journey together. The interesting thing about that is they have no dialogue in the movie.
Okay.
It is basically, it's not a silent film, but it is a film revolving around us reading body language of animals.
That's
If you, it's an interesting
why is there
concept.
an
It's,
information AI?
yep, that I was trying to block that user.
I was looking at something on my phone and what what did it say?
It's here to gather information on residential on names and addresses and stuff.
Cool.
Or
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm reporting that.
yep. But yeah, it looks like it'll be a very interesting movie. I want to watch it. I want you to watch it because I wonder if the story comes out different depending on who's watching it, you know, because we're each going to view different motions of the characters as different based on how we view these animals.
It's interesting.
But that was pretty much it. I wish you had seen the trailer because that would
Expanded my ability
yeah.
to talk. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's okay. It won a few awards at the more recent indie film festival. It has currently has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which slightly concerns me
Why?
because Rotten Tomatoes has no clue how to score a movie.
That is fair. That is very fair.
Same thing with Game Informer has no clue how to judge games.
No game journalists know how to judge games.
Same thing like no movie journalist knows how to judge movies. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Not really much to talk about. I wanted to put it on everybody's radar. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great concept.
I like creative concepts.
It's definitely taking a piece out of what's that movie? A Quiet Place, where zero like there's not a lot of talking,
Right.
but it's taking it in a different direction, which I love to see. And it looks like there will be bits of comedy and humor in it as well, which will be nice. But I can't really talk more about it because I don't really know much more about it.
Right. Well, I mean, if it's an indie film, it's not out yet, of course. Oh boy.
Oh, it's playing the day after my birthday at our local theater.
Oh, nice.
Okay, it is currently at a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is actually pretty decent.
It is. Hmm.
Production started in 2022. I could probably get us discounted tickets for it.
if I don't work.
That's a Thursday. Wait. Hold on. All my days have been off, so I need to go look at what's going on with my computer. Okay, I don't really care. I need to look at a calendar. Not a calculator, a calendar.
Wow, you are.
Where did my calendar go? Calendar. God damn it, I gotta pull up my up there it goes. Why is it opening Outlook? I don't need Outlook to open.
Bro, just how are you so technologically illiterate when you are the same age as me?
It would be on a Thursday.
Cool. You know, you could have just let me look at the calendar that's right next to my desk. And
Why do I know you have a calendar right next to your desk?
because you've been in this room multiple times. And there's always been a calendar hanging here next to my desk.
You know, I don't need you to fight me with logic.
Jeez Louise. I'm tired, man.
Same here, man. Are we still doing a stream after this?
I don't think so. I'm too tired. I want to go to bed.
I feel that.
Or at least just go lay down and watch a movie or something.
Why don't you watch some anime so you can catch up to me, nerd?
Shut up.
How am I more anime literate than you are?
Oh, because you sit there, you don't watch the anime, you just put it on and listen to it.
That's considered watching.
When you're sitting at your computer and you're not even looking at the monitor the anime's on, that's not watching.
It's not on my computer, it's on my phone.
Okay, it's on your phone and you're doing something else, and it's just kind of sitting there playing sound. What?
Yeah. Listen, man, you still get the most of the story.
There is an incredible amount of things that go into visuals.
I'm colorblind. Doesn't make a difference to me.
Good grief.
Well, do we have anything else left to talk about?
Hey, I
do we
mean,
want to
not
talk
really. I
about
don't know what else to talk about, man.
Do we want to talk a little bit about Thanksgiving? I don't know.
My brain is fried. What did we do last year?
We talked about our favorite Thanksgiving foods.
Oh, cool. Has yours changed?
No.
Cool. Neither is mine. Still sweet potato casserole.
Amen, brother.
Oh, gosh. Okay, I will ask this. Is there anything... Do you have a movie that you would consider a Thanksgiving movie?
Oh. No.
Because I have one. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Okay, that's it. I'm not playing this game. It's not a Thanksgiving movie. It's a comedy movie.
It's about going home for Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's a comedy movie. You think just because a Christmas movie has comedy in it, it's not a Christmas movie? You think if a movie is based around Halloween and it's got comedy in it that makes it not a Halloween movie? The hell do you mean? Oh, this love story has comedy? This isn't a love story.
Okay, so
what are you talking about?
The Martian. You're gonna say The Martian is a Thanksgiving movie then?
No.
Why not?
Is Thanksgiving part of the central plot of the movie?
Yes.
How?
The only reason why he survives is because they were supposed to make Thanksgiving dinner while on Mars. And that's why he had potatoes to survive.
Okay, that comes into play at the very beginning of the movie. Is the entire movie him trying to get home from Mars, specifically so he can have Thanksgiving dinner with his family?
I don't know if somebody I knew, like if you were on Mars and got stuck there for quite some time, and then you decided to make your way back, and we missed a few holidays, yeah, I would probably want to celebrate those with you.
Okay, that's great. But then, by that logic, The Martian would be every kind of holiday movie.
He was only gone for like 3 years.
Yeah, so they'd have 3 years worth of holidays to catch up on. You freaking jackass.
Oh man. I have to run to the bathroom or I'm going to shit my pants
All
because
right.
I've been over here giggling.
Lovely. What's your quote for the day?
Uh, Tell me which has more power, a poetry written with ink, a word written with blood, or a blank page stained with tears?
Okay.
Wasn't expecting me to have a quote just on the hip, did you?
No, I was, because you have a list of quotes.
I do. I have so many quotes. You know what? I should just start sharpening them on the walls around my room. Look like a madman.
I desire to have both heaven and hell ever in my eye, while I stand on this isthmus of life between two boundless oceans. John Wesley.
Nice.
All right.
Um.
Thank you, everybody, for
Ooh.
watching. No, we're not going to do Borderlands today, Bug. We're too tired. Freaking
Um.
exhausted. It's Thanksgiving week. I work retail. I want to Kurt
There
Cobain
is
myself.
also a chance that I will not be able to participate in December 10th podcast. But those reasons will be explained
We
at a
could
later
just do
date.
it a different day.
That is also true.
But, all right. Hope everybody has a great night. Tally ho.